So, introduction. It covers the history of accounting, purpose of financial statements, the types of financial statements like the balance sheet, and income statement, statement of cash flows and statement of retained earnings, and also the taxes in the Philippines. So, this chapter discusses the significance of financial statements in evaluating the company's performance and investment potential. It covers the history of accounting, the purpose of financial statements, and the types of financial statements like the balance sheet, income statement, statement of cash flow, and statement of retained earnings. The importance of interpreting the financial statements for investors and managers is emphasized along with the idea that small investors can outperform the market using common sense and readily available information. So, for the brief history of accounting and financial statements. So, the history of accounting and financial statement. First, we will start with the evolution of economic systems. So, it is where the first historical progression of the economic from the barter system, which is yung pakikipagpalitan ng goods and services, leading to involve of small factories, how to use money, and expansion of trade around the local areas. So the next one is the primitive banking and need for financial statements. With the growth of trade and economic activities, and lumitaw dito yung mga bangko, lumitaw na din yung mga pangailangan sa mga in terms of financial para subaybayan pa ng mga ari-arian yung mga utang and yung mga kita nila. Then the next is the complexity of accounting. It shows how accounting has evolved to meet the demands or pangangailangan ng isang economic system. However, the fundamental purpose remains the same. It is to provide an information for decision making by bankers, investors, managers, and taxing authorities. Then the fourth one is the challenges in translating physical assets into numbers. So, accountants face challenges in representing physical assets accurately in financial statements. Factors such as depreciation, inventory spoilage, and uncollectible receivables can affect the accuracy of reported numbers. So, the last one is the importance of financial literacy. So the importance of financial literacy, both investors and general managers need to understand financial statements to make informed or good decisions. This understanding is crucial for effective business operations and investment strategies.
So, to summarize the history, financial statements are crucial documents that go beyond mere numbers, representing real assets and economic activities. Accounting, rooted in the history of trade and specialization, evolved to meet the needs of lenders, investors, managers, and governments. As the economy grew, so did the complexity of accounting, with financial statements serving as vital tools for decision making, operational efficiency, and tax assessment. However, translating physical assets into numerical values poses challenges such as assessing depreciation, inventory accuracy, and unreported liabilities. It's essential for accountants to prepare accurate financial statements while investors and managers must understand how to interpret them effectively. This chapter aims to provide insights into financial statements and their significance in business operations and investment decisions.
Let us now proceed to the next topic, which is the 3.2, the financial statements and reports. First is the annual report, issued annually or yearly by a corporation to its stockholders. It contains financial statements and management analysis of the firm's past operation and future prospects. So, annual reports are useful for sharing a more detailed version of the achievements and challenges internally with the other directors and shareholders of the company. And externally, they are useful for current and potential investors, employees, public, and the media, and anyone interested in your business entity and operations. So, yung annual report, mas broad ang purpose niya than the financial statement. So, ini-issue ito ng mga corporation sa mga stockholders, employees, customers, suppliers, and sa public para sa mas malawak na overview sa performance ng isang company. Kung ano yung mga strategies nila and future developments pa to boost their business. And pinapakita din dito yung mga challenges na na-encounter nila within that year. And para na rin mabigyan nyo ng mga solusyon or strategy na pwede nilang gawin to improve the pagtakbo ng kumpanya. So, merong two types of information in an annual report. First is the verbal section, which is yung letter from the chairman, which is describes firm operating result during the past years. So, yung verbal section is nagsiserve siya to communicate directly to the stakeholders and shareholders. So, nakasaad doon is yung mission and vision, summary of achievements and challenges, and possible na new developments na i-assess by the informations na nakasaad sa isang annual report. And kung anong naging takbo ng company sa taon na yon at kung ano pa yung pwedeng improvements and future plans discussion na nakaka-affect sa future operations ng isang company. So, second information is the reports of basic financial statements. So, a financial statement is a report that shows the financial activities and performance of a business. It is used by lenders and investors to check a business' financial health and earnings potential. So, sa financial statement naman is more on numbers and nagpa-provide siya sa mga investors, stockholders, and sa mga future na pwede pang mag-invest sa company and nakakahikayat siya because nagpa-provide siya ng financial informations about profitability, liquidity, and operations ng isang company. Dito rin na-assess ng isang company kung kaya ba nilang mag-generate ng returns or income at mga kung kaya ba nilang tugunan yung mga financial obligations nila sa loob ng isang taon. So, financial statement is nagre-report kung ano ba yung nangyayari sa asset, liability, equity, earnings, and dividends, and other things na meron ang isang company and kung ano yung mga progress nito. Meron din tinatawag na verbal statement which is nag-a-attempt naman na i-explain kung bakit nangyari yung mga nakapaloob sa isang report and kung anong pwedeng epekto ng mga nakasaad sa financial statement sa future ng isang company. Now, let's all proceed to the four main types of financial statements, which are the balance sheet, income statement, statement of cash flows, and statement of retained earnings. First is the balance sheet. So, a balance sheet is a snapshot of a firm's position on a specific period of time. A financial statement that reports a company's assets, liabilities, and shareholder equity at a specific point in time. Balance sheet provides the basis for computing rates of return for investors and evaluating a company's capital structure. Now, a typical balance sheet has total assets, total liabilities, and total equity. So, in figure 3.1, makikita natin yung total assets. Meron itong dalawang type, which is the current asset and the long-term assets or fixed assets. So, yung current assets is kasama rito yung cash and yung iba pang items na meron ang isang company na kayang i-convert into cash within a year. And including na rin doon yung cash and equivalents, account receivable, and inventories. Yung mga long-term assets naman is yung mga assets na nag-e-exist pa rin and exceeding 1 year. Such as yung mga physical assets na plants, equipment, intellectual property like patents and copyrights. So, yung liabilities naman refers to the things that you owe or borrowed. So, such as loans, accounts payable, and mortgages, deferred revenues, bonds, warranties, accrued expenses. So, sa liabilities, meron din short-term which is yung current liabilities na yung mga utang na payable within a year, So, yung mga accounts payable, short-term loans, and meron din naman na long-term liabilities, which is yung non-current. So, yung mga debts or obligation ng isang company that can be paid after a year. So, yung mga long-term loans, ganon. Then, the equity, which is yung nagre-represent ng ownership ng mga stockholders. So, ito yung mga ininvest nila ng mga stockholders sa loob ng isang company. So, under the equity, meron tinatawag na common equity. So, ito yung matitira for the shareholders kung lahat ng assets ng company ay naibenta na at lahat ng debts ay mabayaran na. Kaya, also known din siya bilang net assets. Meron tinatawag na common stock, which is nire-represent nito yung ownership na meron ng isang stockholder sa isang company. And retained earnings, kung magkano ang makikip ng isang company after paying its debts and dividends. So, yung dividends is yung parang reward na binibigay sa mga shareholders as parang yun yung kinita nila para sa share nila sa isang company. Pwedeng cash or additional shares. So, this is the accounting equation, which is ALE, or assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity. For example, yung isang company is may total liabilities na 27,000 and meron total na owner's equity na 22,500. So, to compute the assets, you simply add the total liabilities and owner's equity, which is 49,500. Yun na yung total assets ng isang company. So, we have net working capital, which is a measure of a company's liquidity and operational efficiency calculated as the difference between its current assets and current liabilities. So, important siya as a financial metric that measures a company's liquidity and ability to meet its short-term obligations. So, we have here an example. So, remember na ang formula for net working capital is current assets minus current liabilities. So, for example, ang isang company is merong current assets na 145,000. And meron naman siyang current liabilities na 60,000. So, to compute the net working capital, you simply subtract yung current assets sa total liabilities. So, 145,000 minus 60,000 is equals to 85,000. And yun yung net working capital ng isang company.
Let's proceed with the income statement. An income statement, or also called a profit and loss statement, it measures the amount of profits generated by a firm over a given time period, usually year siya, quarterly, and year or annually or quarterly. So, it means yung income statement na kilala rin natin as a profit and loss statements. So, it is a financial statement to show the financial performance of the company. It also show the summary of the income, expenses, and resulting net income or loss of a company over a specific period of time, typically nga a year siya, quarter, or month. So next, the income statement. An income statement has four elements. They are the revenue, expenses, gains, and losses. So, for the revenue, these are the inflows or other enhancements of assets or settlements of its liabilities that is constitute the entity's ongoing major or central operations. So it means ito na yung kabuuang kita ng isang company from their sales ng produkto nila sa 1 year. So, examples of revenue accounts are sales, fee revenue, interest revenue, and dividend revenue. So, the next one is the expenses. So, expenses, outflows, or other using up of assets or incurrences of liabilities that constitute the entity's ongoing major or central operation. So, ito naman yung nagastos. So examples of expenses accounts are cost of goods sold, depreciation expense, interest and expense, rent expense, and salary expense. So for the fourth one, the gains, it increases in equity or yung net assets from peripheral or incidental transactions. So next naman is losses, decreases in equity, net assets from peripheral or incidents in what did you call this? In incidental transactions. So yan, for example, is the net income. Here's the formula. Net income equals revenue plus gains minus the expenses plus losses. So our revenue for here is 30,800. Add natin siya sa um, gains natin, which is 2,000. Then ma-minus natin siya sa expenses and the losses, which is 10,650 and 800 pesos. So next is the net cash flow. So the net cash flow, or NCF, is the difference between the money coming in or inflows and the money going out of a company outflows over a specific period of time. So it means yung net cash flow, ito yung natitirang halaga ng cash or pera na natanggap or nailabas ng isang company, project or individual pagkatapos kaltasan ng lahat ng mga cash inflows or pumapasok na pera at cash outflows na lumalabas na pera to its operation. It is important because it shows the information about the liquidity or kakayahan ng isang company to pay their own expenses like debt or utang.
So now let us talk about the statement of cash flow. It is a statement reporting the impact of a firm's operating, investing, and financing activities on cash flows over an accounting period. So, cash flow is used in a variety of ways, including paying dividends, increasing inventories, financing accounts receivable, investing in fixed assets, retiring debt, and buying back common stocks. So, it refers to the amount of cash na pumapasok and lumalabas sa company, business, or individual over a specific period of time. Now let us take a look at the key factors that affects a company's cash balance. First is cash flow. So when there is a positive net cash flow, it means that more cash is coming in than going out during a period, which may result in an increase in cash in the bank. So next is the changes in working capital. So ano nga ba 'to? Ito yung mga pagbabago sa current assets and liabilities ng isang company na directly connected sa operations nito. So, kapag tumaas yung working capital, tulad ng mga inventories and receivable, which is funded by cash, nagkokosto ng pagbaba ng mga cash reserve. While on the other hand, ang pagbawas sa working capital naman is nagre-result sa pagtaas ng cash. The third one is the fixed asset. Ito naman yung mga long-term assets ng isang company and ginagamit for operations like for example is land, buildings, machineries, and such. So, paano nga ba ito naka-affect sa cash balance? So, kapag nag-invest ang isang company sa fixed asset, nababawasan ang kanyang cash position while kapag binenta naman ito yung mga fixed asset is lumalaki yung cash or nag increase. Now let's go to the fourth one, which is the security transactions and dividend payments. Ang security transaction is yung pagbili and pagbenta ng mga securities tulad ng mga stock, bond, or other financial instrument. While ang dividend payments naman is yung pagbabayad ng company sa mga stockholders nila bilang bahagi ng kanilang kita. So, kung ang isang company ay naglabas ng stock or bond sa loob ng isang taon, ang funds na nakuha ay mag enhance ng cash position ng company. While on the other hand, kung gumamit ng company ng cash for paying its debt, buy back some of its stocks or magbayad ng dividends sa mga shareholder, nagre-result naman to ng pagbawas sa cash. So, ang statement of cash flow is nahati sa tatlong categories. First is the operating activities. It is all about the transactions na directly connected sa operation ng isang business. And it shows kung paano yung business kung nakakakuha and gumagastos ng cash for its daily operations. The number two is the investing activities. Ito naman yung mga transactions like pag-alok ng pera sa isang company sa mga investment and pagbili or pagbenta ng assets na may pangmatagalang halaga. So, pinapakita naman dito kung paano ginagamit ng company yung pera nito sa mga pag-aalok na may potensyal na magkaroon magkaroon ng dulot or maging reason ng pagtaas ng kita or pagbenta ng mga asset upang mapalago yung kanilang negosyo. So, the third is the financing activities. Ito naman yung mga transactions like pagkuha ng funds ng isang company mula sa labas ng company or pagbibigay ng funds sa mga stakeholders. And also, pinapakita rin ito kung paano kinokollect ng company yung mga pera para sa operations or kung paano sila nagbabayad ng utang and dividends sa mga shareholder. Next is the statement of retained earnings. So, ano nga ba yung statement of retained earnings? It reports how much of the firm's earnings were retained in the business rather than paid as dividends. The balance sheet number reported for retained earnings is the sum of the annual retained earnings for each years of the firm's history. Here's the example of the statement of retained earnings.
Sa uses and limitations of financial statement. Yung financial statement po is nagpe-perform po siya ng several important functions sa isang company. And also, pinapakita po dito yung totoong estado po ng isang company and tinutulungan din po nila kuhain yung mga important financial informations from shareholders and investors to government and creditors. Now, alamin po natin yung mga uses and limitations of financial statement. Number one is bridging the gap in management. Yung financial statement po is basically nagre-reflect po siya sa company's financial performances po. Pinapakita po dito yung profits and liabilities po ng isang company and also pinapakita din po dito kung gaano po naging successful yung desisyon na ginawa nila sa isang kumpanya. Since yung shareholders po is meron pong access sa statement na to, pwede po nila gamitin yung performance ng kanilang company. And nakakatulong po ito para po ma-help and matugunan yung mga gap and lapses po sa isang company. Number two is availing credit from lenders. Alam naman po natin every company needs to borrow funds para po maka-function po yung isang company. They have to rely on lenders like banks and financial institutions for this purpose po. Yung financial statement po kasi is nagpo-play po siya ng huge role in this purpose po. Since bago po sila makapag-borrow ng money or funds, kailangan po nila ipakita yung company's liabilities, debts, and profits po nila. Number three is used for investors. Yung investors po is also, pwede din po nila gamitin yung company's financial statement po para po ma-assess yung mga finances po nito. Also, makakatulong din po ito para po makita po nila if worth it po ba yung perang ininvest nila sa isang company. If yung company po kasi is nag-earn ng profits, they might decide po na mag-invest pa po ng maraming pera. Pero on the opposite side po kasi, if yung profit po ng isang company is hindi po tumataas, possible po na mag-pull out po sila. Kaya the better company's financial position is, the greater the investment it will receive. Number 4 is credit worthiness assessment. Yung mga lenders and creditors po is pwede po nila gamitin yung financial statement po para po ma-assess nila yung credit worthiness po ng isang company bago po mag-extend ng loans or credit lines. By analyzing these factors po like liquidity, profitability, and debt levels po, madedetermine po nila yung risk of default at para po maset nila yung appropriate terms for lending. Number 5 is disclosure requirements. In many jurisdiction po kasi, yung companies po is legally required po sila na i-prepare and i-disclose yung financial statement po sa regulatory authorities at sa public po para po mag-provide ng transparency and accountability and para na rin po ma-ensure yung mga investors and other stakeholders na merong access po sa relevant information po na ito. Hindi lang naman po uses of financial statement ang meron tayo. Meron din po tayong limitations. Sa limitations po is meron po tayong number 1 is not a reflection of the present financial position po. Yung mga company po is hindi po nila pinapakita yung financial statement nila in the present times. This is because ginagawa po nila ito at the end of every financial year po. Kaya they only describe the performances of the previous 12 months. Number 2 is possibility of bias. Yung financial statement po is hindi naman po siya laging accurate representation ng isang company. Nangyayari po ito kasi nagbe-base po sila on several personal judgment, conventions, and internal policies of accountants. Also, dahil po dito is makaka-affect din po siya sa accuracy, reliability, and objectivity po ng information na nakapresent. Number 3 is absence of vital information. Possible po na laktawan ng mga accountant yung mga mahalagang information while making financial statement po. For example na po niyan is yung contingent liabilities. These are the potential future obligations po na nakadepende sa outcome po ng isang uncertain event such as lawsuit or warrant claims. If hindi po yun na-disclose, yung mga stakeholders po is possible po na i-underestimate po yung mga financial risk na haharapin po ng company at kapag po nangyari po kasi yon is it can lead to misunderstanding, misinterpretation, and having a poor decision making po. Number 4 is lack of qualitative information. Since yung financial statement po is nag-focus po siya sa quantitative information such as numbers, figures, and monetary values, marami pong qualitative data is hindi po na fully captured na sobrang importante po para po maintindihan po natin yung overall performances, risk, and yung prospect po ng isang company. Number 5 is lack of details. Yung example po ng lack of details is yung limited disclosures. Since yung financial statement po is may not provide enough information about specific transactions, operations, or events within the company, which can lead to gaps in understanding. Now, let's proceed to 3.9, which is modifying accounting data for investors and managerial decisions. In modifying the accounting data for investor and managerial decisions, nire-refer po siya sa process ng pag-adjust ng financial information para po ma-provide ng mas maayos for both investors and managers. This modification typically involves analyzing raw accounting data and applying various adjustments para na rin po ma-present nila ng mas malinaw yung company's performance and position. Yung company assets can be divided into two groups, which is operating assets and operating capital, and non-operating assets and non-operating capital. Yung non-operating assets is nagre-refer po siya sa assets above the level of operating requirement, such as stock in other companies, land held by future use, and cash. while yung operating assets and operating capital, also known po siya as working capital or operating working capital. Re-represent po siya sa capital na kailangan po natin para po matustusan yung company's day-to-day operation. It is calculated between current assets and current liabilities. Yung current assets po is expected siya na i-convert into cash or pwede siyang gamitin within 1 year. Also, ginagamit din siya para po masupport yung operations, including po dun yung cash, inventory, and account receivable. While yung current liabilities naman po is, ito po yung mga obligasyon na dapat bayaran within 1 year and nag-occur siya as a natural consequences of operation such as accounts payable or accruals. Kapag naman gusto ng analyst na i-evaluate yung company's overall position and value, mas nag-focus yung analyst sa net operating working capital. Yung net operating working capital is financial metric siya na nagme-measure sa pagkakaiba ng operating current assets and operating current liabilities. Kaya it is working capital kasi nag-acquired within investor supplied funds. Bali, to calculate the net operating working capital, you typically subtract the operating current assets and operating current liabilities. Bali, formula po niya is net operating working capital is equals to operating current assets minus operating current liabilities. Bali, sa operating current assets po kasi is, ang mga nakapaloob po dun is yung cash, account receivable, and yung inventories. While yung operating current liabilities naman po is nakapaloob po dun yung accounts payable and accruals. Yung accruals po kasi is yung amount ng money na na-earn or na-spend pero hindi pa rin po bayad. Bali, sa operating assets po, ipag-add nyo lang po yung cash, account receivables, and inventories. For the year 2005 po, pag-add nyo lang po yung cash, account receivables, and inventories. Yung cash po for year 2005 is 10, while yung account receivable is 375, and yung inventories po is 615. While sa operating current liabilities naman po is meron po tayo dong accounts payable and yung accruals. Yung accounts payable po is 60 while yung accruals is 140. Bali, pag-add nyo lang po yun. Bali, for the operating current assets, ang nakuha po natin is 1,000 while yung operating current liabilities naman po is 200. Bali, after po natin makuha yung operating current assets and operating current liabilities, isusubtract po natin siya which is ang magiging net operating working capital for the year 2005 is 800. While for the year 2004 naman po, same process lang naman po siya. Yung sa operating current assets po is meron po tayong sa cash is 80 while yung sa account receivables is 315 and yung inventories is 415. Sa operating current liabilities naman po is meron po tayong sa accounts payable is meron po tayong 30 while yung sa accruals is 130. Bali, sa operating current assets po is pag-add nyo lang po siya and makuha po natin is 810 while yung sa operating current liabilities naman po is 160. After nyo po makuha yung operating current assets and operating current liabilities, ipag-subtract nyo lang po siya and yung net operating working capital po for the year 2004 is 650. Bali, for the year 2005, nag-increase po siya ng 150, which is, paano po ba natin siya nakuha? Nakuha po natin siya by subtracting the net operating working capital for year 2005 and year 2004. Yung total operating capital supplied by Allied Investor over the years through December 31, 2005, bali 12 months na po siya. Bali yung Bali yung formula po ng total operating capital is total operating capital is equals to net operating working capital plus net fixed asset or net land and equipment. Bali, sa total operating capital for the year 2005 is, ang nakuha po natin doon, di ba, is 100. While yung net land and equipment po natin for the year 2005 is 1,000. Bali, pagpa-plus nyo lang po Bali, pag-plus lang po natin siya, bali, ang maging net total operating capital for year 2005 is 1,800. In the prior year po, in 2004, aling total operating capital is um, yung net operating working capital po ng year 2004 is 650, while yung net land and equipment for year 2004 is 870. Bali pag pa-plus lang po natin siya, bali ang nakuha po natin for the total operating capital for year 2004 is 1,520. Bali for year 2005, yung operating capital ay nag-increase po siya ng 280. Bali, pinag-subtract lang po natin yung total operating capital ng year 2005 and year 2004. Now, let's proceed to operating cash flow. Yung operating cash flow po is minimeasure niya yung amount ng cash na na-generate by the company's normal business operations. Operating cash flow is nag-indicate kung yung company ay kaya mag-generate ng sufficient positive cash flow para po ma-maintain at mag-grow yung operations. Otherwise po, it may require external financing for capital expansion. Bali po yung formula po ng operating cash flow is equals to EBIT multiplied by 1 minus tax rate plus depreciation and amortization. Yung EBIT multiplied by 1 minus tax rate is often referred po siya as a NOPAT or net operating profit after taxes. So, bali, ang maging formula po niya is operating cash flow is equals to NOPAT plus depreciation and amortization. First is kuhain po muna natin yung NOPAT. For the year 2005 po, ang EBIT po natin is 283.8 while yung tax rate po natin is 0.4. First is subtract lang po natin muna yung 1 minus tax rate which is 0.4. 1 minus 0.4 is 0.6. After po natin po yung 0.6 is i-multiply po natin siya dito sa EBIT which is 283.8. Bali, ang NOPAT po natin or net operating or yung net operating profit after taxes is 170.3. And yung 170.3 po natin, ipag-plus lang po natin siya sa depreciation and amortization which is 100. Bali, ang operating cash flow po natin is 270.3. Sa free cash flow naman po is magiging available lang po yung free cash flow for payment to investors after po ng company na mag-invest sa fixed asset, new products, and working capital. Required po siya para po sustain yung ongoing operations. To be more specific po, yung value ng isang company's operation ay nakadepende siya sa expected future cash flow. Bali yung formula po ng future cash flow is equals to operating cash flow minus investment in operating capital. Yung operating cash flow po, paano po ba nasusukuha? Makuha po natin siya by the formula of EBIT multiplied by 1 minus tax rate plus depreciation and amortization. While yung sa investment in operating capital naman po is makuha po natin siya by pag-add po natin yung capital expenditures and yung net operating working capital. Paano po ba natin makuha yung capital expenditures? Since yung depreciation and amortization po was 100 and yung fixed asset is nag-increase siya by 130 after ng 100 na pagka-depreciation, pag-add lang po natin yung 100 and yung fixed asset which is 130 kaya po naging 230. And yung net operating working capital naman po kasi is dito po natin siya makuha sa ito sa year 2005 na pinag-subtract lang po natin yung net operating working capital ng year 2005 and year 2004. But doon po natin nakuha yung 150. And yung sa operating cash flow naman po kasi is, ayun nga po, ang nakuha po natin sa net operating cash flow po, di ba, is 270.3. And ipag-minus nyo lang po siya sa investment in operating working capital, which is 380. And yung free cash flow na po natin is 109.7. Yung economic value added po is minimeasure niya yung company's financial performance po na consider as a cost of capital. Also po, ina-evaluate niya kung yung company po is nag-generate ba ng returns above or below ng halaga ng capital na ginamit po para po ma-generate yung returns po. So, yung formula po niya is EVA is equals to net operating profit after tax minus capital multiplied by cost of capital. So, yung net operating profit after tax po or NOPAT po is adjusted po siya for certain items like interest expenses and taxes po. While yung capital naman po is nagre-refer po siya sa total amount ng capital na i-invest po nila sa business or sa isang company, including po doon yung equity and debt. While yung cost of capital naman po is weighted average po siya ng cost of the company's equity and debt capital. Kung yung lumabas po is positive economic value added po, meaning po nun is yung company is nag-generate po siya ng return ng sobra pa sa amount ng capital po. Pero kung ang lumabas ay negative naman po is meaning po nun is hindi po siya nag-generate ng return na mas mataas pa po yung halaga ng capital nito.
Income tax system. So, may 10 tayong income tax system. So, the first one, let us explain first or discuss first the corporate taxes, personal taxes. So, here. The corporate taxes is a tax levied on the profits earned by corporations or businesses. It is imposed by the government at the federal, state, and sometimes local levels, depending on the jurisdiction. So, as you may know, the corporate income tax rate in the Philippines is 25%, while the minimum corporate income tax is MCIT is 2%. So, a trivia that this was reduced to 1% until June 30 of 2023, after which it will revert to 2%. So, sa Pilipinas, yung corporate tax, ito yung tax or buwis na kinakaltas sa mga kita ng isang company or corporation. So, ito yung pinapato o nilalagay or binabawas sa kanilang kita from their operation ng isang company. So So, may key points tayo about the corporate tax in the Philippines. So, the first one is the corporate tax rate. So, for now, the Philippines corporate tax rate is 25% nga. So, ito yung whole taxable income or yung kabuuan ng tax income ng isang company. But there is a proposal to reduce the corporate tax rate to enhance the country's competitiveness in the global market. So, next one is the minimum corporate income tax or yung MCIT. The MCIT is an alternative tax na kinakalta sa mga kumpanya that cannot reach the enough income to pay the 30% regular corporate tax rate. So, as of now, the MCIT or the minimum corporate income tax ng Philippines is 2% ng gross income ng isang company. So, the next one is the tax incentive. So, the Philippines provides various tax incentives to qualified corporations in order to engage the investors in business growth. This may include yung mga mga tax holidays, tax exemptions, and other benefits granted under special laws such as the Special Economic Zone Act and the Philippine Economic Zone Authority o yung PEZA. Next is the tax filing and payment. So, ito naman yung mga company sa Pilipinas na need nila mag-submit or mag-submit ng kanilang annual income tax return sa Bureau of Internal Revenue or BRR sa specific period of time. So, last Tuesday, last February, yung deadline ng pagpasa ng income tax. So, the last one is the tax treaties, also known as the tax agreements or tax conventions. It's an agreement from the Philippines together with the other countries to make sure na mapapanatili nila yung integrity sa kanilang tax systems and to prevent the double taxes to individuals or company na may business or income sa same country. So, next is the personal taxes. Personal taxes refer to the taxes that individuals are required to pay on their income, assets, and transactions. So, it is to make simple, equitable, or makatarungan yung pagbabayad ng kanilang tax to make enhance the effectiveness of the country's tax system while also strengthening the government's capacity na makalikom sila ng enough revenue para sa social projects or proyekto and public services pa. So, yeah. So, personal taxes natin, meron tayong TRAIN law. So, stands for Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion Law by the Republic Act number 10963. So, which was implemented in the Philippines in December 18, 2017. So, ayun nga. Yung the TRAIN law primarily focuses on reforming the income tax system to reduce the tax burden on low and middle income earners while also broadening the tax base and increasing revenue for the government. So, the reduction of income tax for workers, the TRAIN law led to a reduction in the income tax nga daw. So, it means yung TRAIN law is isa to sa way na pagbawas ng buwis sa mga kinikita ng mga manggagawa, especially yung mga hindi pa minimum wage earner. So, itinaas nito ang tax exemption. So, in-accept sila para sa mga minimum wage earners habang binaba naman ang personal income tax rates para sa iba pang mga income brackets. So, the next one is increase in excise tax on some goods and services. It is to boost the government revenue, which is the TRAIN law, impose increases in excise or remove taxes on certain petroleum products, beverages, and other goods. So, the next one is increase in value-added tax, which means VAT threshold. So that businesses with annual gross sales below a certain limit are no longer required to pay VAT. So the fourth one is the provision of cash transfers to the poor. So it means from the word itself, mga mahihirap na tao, na it is to protect them sa epekto ng pagtaas ng mga presyo, dulot ng pagtaas pa ng mga taxes. So, ipinatupad yung train law, yung Pantawid Pasada program, and the unconditional cash transfer program to make sure na mabibigyan sila ng cash grants from the beneficiaries. So, the last one is the focus on infrastructure development and educational or health services. So it is expected that the additional revenue from the implementation of the train law will be used to fund infrastructure projects and social services such as improving the education and healthcare systems. So ito yun, magagamit para pondahan pa yung mga project natin, project project like in the public pa.
Yung interest paid po is nagre-refer po siya sa expense na nakuha mo sa isang tao as a payment sa paghiram ng pera. For example po is interest paid on loans. Yung borrowers po is magbabayad siya ng interest sa lenders as a compensation for using borrowed funds. Nag-i-include po dun yung interest paid on mortgage, personal loans, credit card balances, and etc. While yung interest earn naman po is nagre-refer siya sa income na na-receive mo na sa isang tao as a compensation for lending money or investing capital. Nagre-represent po dito yung return on investment or ROI. For example po is interest earned on loans. Yung lenders po is mag-earn siya ng interest sa loan na pinautang niya sa borrowers such as personal loans, mortgage, or corporate bonds.
Let us now proceed to the dividends paid and dividends received. So here in our country, the Philippines, dividends distributed by a resident company are subject to withholding tax at 25%. And those distributed to non-residents are taxed at 15%, provided that the country of the non-resident recipient allows a tax credit of 15%. So, the withholding tax may be reduced under an applicable tax treaty. Next is the tax loss carryback and carry forwards. So, yung tax loss carry forward is an accounting technique that applies current year net operating losses to future year's profits in order to reduce tax liability. On the other hand, the tax loss carryback naman occurs when a business has an net operating loss and applies that loss against a preceding year's tax bill, resulting in a refund.
The eighth federal income tax system is the capital gains. It defined as profits from the sale of assets that are not normally bought and sold in the course of business. And for individuals, capital gains typically arise from the sales of stocks or bonds at a profit. Next is depreciation. It is a measurement of the useful life of a business asset, such as machinery or a factory, to determine the multi-year period over which the cost of the that assets can be deducted from taxable income. Lastly is the small businesses. If a business is a proprietorship or partnership, its income is allocated to its owners in proportion to their ownership interests. In conclusion, the primary objectives of this chapter were to outline the fundamental financial statements, to offer background insights into cash flows, to distinguish between net cash flow and accounting income, and to give an overview of the federal income tax system. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you learned a lot from our discussion.